So you went back to California this week.
I did.
I have not gotten to hear much about it. So if you want to give me the rundown.
Yeah, and just a little context. I'm living in Phoenix right now. I lived in San Diego. I've bounced back and forth my entire life. But so yes, I was visiting San Diego. I have 4 days off in a week, as you know. So I make a point of that to be able to leave on a Sunday, come back on a Wednesday, and just start work the next day. And I thought it would be a lot easier than it was.
Was it what, like the drive or
everything? You know, I would say like I'm used to the drive by now, just because I've done it so many times, like in the process of moving and just visiting here when I was living out there. So the drive's no problem. 5-hour little banger, right? But just compressing, since I had so much to do when I was out there, it was just making time for everybody and everything. You know, it wasn't like this leisurely trip out there as much as I wanted it to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably pretty beneficial. I mean, what did you do? You went out there for a couple key reasons.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I went out, not that I necessarily have to go for this, but my favorite spot in the world for like niche beer that's like hard to come by is a place called a Wine Cellar in Escondido. So I made the best effort to go there and get, I was anticipating like 5 bottles, but we'll say double that. I left with like at least 10.
Yeah. You
naturally.
You brought a good bit back.
I had a paycheck and I'm like, well, I have a paycheck, so I don't need a paycheck since I have one.
Yeah.
So I'll just blow it all on beer.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So made an effort to go out there, you know, see a couple friends, see the parents, Valentine's Day stuff, you know, all of that. So it started with, I got there, saw my old coworkers, talked to my boss and everything, and then I kind of just went straight to prepping for Valentine's Day mode, because you know it's a commercial holiday, so you have to buy a lot of shit.
I don't think I've done a Valentine's since like grade school.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, as an adult, you haven't had like a Valentine's date?
Nope. Never really go too out of the way for it. I mean, like, I've had times where I celebrate it, but it's usually just, you know, a normal date.
Yeah.
Just on Valentine's. I don't buy the chocolates and the roses and all that stuff. Unless it's something that I would already do. I don't know. I don't really buy all the extra Valentine's shit.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely played into the normie, like, everything appropriate for Valentine's Day. Like, I went to See's Candy. I waited in a line out the door on Valentine's Day to get everything. I got the heart-shaped box, you know, all that shit. Got the flowers. One thing I didn't anticipate, though, was on the Valentine's Day date. So I went to a place called the Boiling Crab. It's kind of like Joe's Crab Shack. Have you ever been to like one of those Louisiana,
like a crab boil?
Like a crab boil, yeah. You get just a plastic bag. It looks like something you'd like pick up your dog's shit in when you're walking him at the park.
I fucking love those restaurants.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. And, you know, you go to the table, they lay down like paper because they're like, you know, they just assume they're like, you're one fucking messy boy here. So here's
you should be.
Here's your bib. Here's your table blanket. And, you know, everything's going great. Like I get a pound of crawfish, pound of shrimp, but then I see the lobster. Now, everything else has a price. Besides the lobster, it's market price. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't see a price. I don't worry about the price, you know? Never worried about the price.
I'm always worried about the price. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit worried, you know, when that check was coming, but I realized, yeah, it was literally $40 for like the single lobster. And the worst part of it all is like, it's one of those lobsters with a bigger claw than the other one, right? Like, have you seen those?
I think so. Is that like a special branch of lobster?
I have no clue. I just thought, you know, stereotypical red lobster, but this one had one maybe he was just gimpy or something and just this anomaly, but he had this meaty fucking claw, and I was so stoked. I got those little crushers and just ever so neatly tried to crack it open. It came out in one piece. It's like the most satisfying thing. Like, it didn't like shred up. It's that one meaty lobster claw. It fucking flies out of the tongs. I catch it with my legs, fucking Cajun sauce all over me. And I'm like, yes, I saved it. And then it squeezes through my sorry excuse of thighs, lands on the floor. I look at my date and I'm like, what's the rule on this one? Like, I could eat this, right? And she's like, no, like, no, not on the floor, So I had
That's $40 on the floor, right?
Yeah, at least $8 in the claw alone, whereas like, it's on the table after, and I'm just staring at it the whole fucking dinner because I'm like, I want that. That's like the best part, and I lost it.
Yeah.
So
because you were too eager.
Yeah, I jumped the gun on that one, but yeah, unfortunately, the check came out, and like I didn't even care about the price until I was like, man, that fucking lobster claw.
You should have asked him, and like, I dropped a piece of my lobster. You know how those people like will eat 3/4 of their meal and then want to send it back because they didn't like it. They leave like a bite on.
Some
like,
gypsy
I didn't
shit,
like it. Can I send this back? It's like, ma'am, there's a bite of mashed potatoes left on that plate.
This is too spicy. It's like, sir, you ordered the ghost pepper wings. But yeah, so that was a little disappointing. And not only, I'm not trying to complain too much. It was a wonderful time, but just I ordered a couple beers because I thought I was getting a beer. Like, normally, you get like a bottle or like a tall can, or they pour you a draft, but they brought out like one of those little, it's like, the size of like a Coke can.
Yeah, like a 12 ounce.
Yeah, a little 12 ounce. And I was like, really? So like, I didn't even crack it open yet. And I'm like, I need 2 of these. Like, you expect like a whole ass beer with your meal. That was just like a little sipper.
Yeah. That makes me think, while you were out of town, I went to Culinary Dropout in Phoenix.
What's that?
It's like a scratch kitchen.
What's that?
Everything on the menu is made from scratch. I think it's just, they don't like order in bulk items that are like frozen and stored or anything. If they have a spaghetti sauce, it's not a pre-portioned thing that comes in a bag. It's like they made the spaghetti sauce, and they're constantly changing things. It's like a test kitchen kind of.
Yeah,
but it's super good, and it's inside of this place called The Yard that has like ping pong tables and cornhole and stuff. It's super nice.
Yeah, but
they have a paper bag special. You can order a beer for $2, but they don't tell you what beer it is. They just give you a random beer in a brown paper bag.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, except for the fact that every single time I've ordered it, I've gotten a Natty Light. I've never gotten something cool.
Maybe it's only Natty Light, and they're like, they won't catch on,
I went with a couple people last year, and we all got the paper bag special, and I was the only one who got a Natty Light. Everybody else got some shitty beer, but it was like still a craft beer. It was like something that would have been better than a Natty Light,
Yeah.
I just think the paper bag special isn't for me. That's pretty much it. It just made me think of when you got the 12 ounce can. That's the only place I've ever really seen sell the 12 ounce cans.
Right. But real quick, I'm just curious, like, I don't think I've had a Natty Light. Where is that on like comparison to like, is it a step above, below, or equal to like Keystone Light?
It's kind of the same.
Kind of the same. Okay.
Yeah. I think they're in the same playing field.
Yeah.
Of just, it's like a Coors, it's just
right.
They're all kind of in the same branch of, it's just a very watered down beer that's cheap. Keystone, Natty Lights, Coors Light, they're all the cheap beers, but it's just like, whereas Coors Light I can deal with, Natty Light is just nasty to me. It's just disgusting. Keystone is disgusting. I can't stand them. But I know people that swear by them that hate Coors Light, but much prefer those. To each their own.
Right.
I just don't like drinking swill,
Get that swill away from me, you swine.
Says the guy who drinks the IPAs. whatever.
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking to me.
Oh.
I'm talking like me.
I was like,
I
'cause
said
I
I don't
like
want to drink
IPAs.
that swill because it tastes like shit, but I drink beer that is known for tasting like shit.
You talking to me?
You talking to me?
You talking to me?
I think.
Or you talking to him? Because I really think you're talking to me right now.
You're not talking to me.
You're not talking to me.
No.
We are not having a conversation right
You
now.
and me? Not the same.
You and me don't even exist. We're a fabrication.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah,
Damn.
chew on that one for a second.
Oh, God,
But-
that's going to be like some beef jerky in my mouth for the next 2 days.
But
God damn.
yeah, anyways, we knock out that dinner and we go to Little Saigon. So it's in Orange County. It's kind of like Westminster, Garden Grove area. And there's this indoor mall there. And it's like decked out. And there's a lot of people. It's Valentine's Day and it was just Lunar New Year. So, there's all the Year of the Tiger shit floating around. And walking through there, I noticed, so it's 90% like jewelry stores. It's like all jewelry stores. I didn't even go in those. But there were 3 little, I want to call them anime shops, but they were like knockoff anime shops. Like they sold like anime merch and plushies, but then there would be like Shrek merch, and then there would just be normal pencils and calculators,
So like the brick and mortar Redbubble.
pretty much, yeah. It's like a brick and mortar Redbubble, and yeah, there was like a bunch of knockoff shit, but there are definitely some cool things left with the sword art keychain that had both Kirito's swords, had Asuna's little rapier. Is that what it called? Those little kind of like Swifty
yeah, it
swords.
always sounds weird. I prefer to call them rapiers, but they are. I'm pretty sure they all are called rapiers.
Yeah, yeah.
So you did all that, and I mean, I want to talk about the beers that you got, but maybe we should not talk about that just because we're gonna, we're holding them for pairings and stuff. Don't want to give away the goods so frequently, but there's a lot of cool bottles in there.
Yeah, I'll say this much. Yeah, a lot of cool artwork, a lot of beers that I've been wanting to try for a while, but just giving them just a little bit. Tonight's episode, we are pairing with a strawberry blonde, which was a request of Ryan. I had no clue what it was beforehand.
From here until now, you can try to guess which anime you think we're going to pair it with.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, check last episode.
Hey, I see what you did there. So, yeah, definitely scored some awesome beers. Had a great trip. Now, yesterday I headed back. I worked today, but I got back at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And
You got back like right before 1.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad,
In my exaggerative
1:30.
mind, 1:30. I had to put that extra half hour to make it sound more extreme. But yeah, late. I got back late.
1:30 would be way too late, but 1 o'clock, like, you still got a whole day ahead of you.
Yeah, it's like I'm not that close to the witching hour, I'm safe.
Yeah,
but
you're
like
fine. You got plenty of time.
yeah, so I don't know if this happened on the way there while I was out there. I didn't notice until I was about to leave, but my tail lights were out. And anytime I hit the brakes, nothing would go on. So first thought, you're always like, oh, it could be the bulbs. But it would be such like a weird catastrophic anomaly for the left, right, and the center bulbs to all go out. Like usually it's just like one, right?
Yeah.
It's not like all of them. So I'm like, okay. So I check the fuse. Fuse is fine. So I'm like, oh, it must be like the brake light switch, which is that little switch that engages when you like hit your brakes, And that's an easy fix. Went to AutoZone, picked one up, switched it out. Still nothing. And at this point, it's like I can't get like a last minute mechanic or anything. It's already like 4 p.m. I need to work the next day. I still have to drive like 5.5 hours. So I'll say that was probably the most stressful trip I took back and forth because people would like ride my ass as they normally do in California, getting out of California on the freeway. And I'd put like my hazards on because everyone's just like flashing their brights at me, flipping me off, cutting me off. And I'm like, I know it would be best to keep them on, but at the same time, I didn't want to get pulled over. So I was like,
Yeah.
kind of eyeballing. I'm like, all right, no cops around. hazards on. And then like no one's behind me. All right, hazards off. And it was very much like, I feel like it was like a game of chess trying to navigate back to Phoenix. And kind of icing on the cake there, my power steering and like traction and everything also like flagged. It's like, hey, like get this service and checked out. I don't know if it's because I was fucking with the fuses or what, but I was like, great, I don't have brakes. I'm gonna lose power steering. I'm like, I was just like crossing my fingers the whole time off of like 3 monsters, just anxious, like, oh, I need to make it back.
Twitching in the car. You know what it was?
What?
It was that $8 claw you dropped on the floor. Life just said, hey, you know, he wants to waste money like this. Let's fuck his car up.
Yeah, it was the lobster coming back for revenge because he's like, you didn't even honor my dead body by completing what you started.
Just because it touched the floor, you're not going to eat me? Disrespectful.
Let's be real here. If I was alone, hell yeah, I would eat that claw.
You paid for it.
But with the date across from me kind of looking at me like side-eyed, like waiting for me to eat it, like, no, go ahead, do what you do. Like,
it's when you look him directly in the eye and you just
see, that would have been a power Dami Sigma move right there, but I did not have the power level at the time to do that.
You weren't quite ready. I understand.
Yeah, I got to work out to it. I got to eat like a Cheeto off the floor in front of him, and then then a meaty, saucy lobster, because lobster claw's picking up everything it touches. Like if there's some hair or dog feces off the guy's shoe from the last table, that's all sticking to it like Elmer's.
That's some would consider that a delicacy.
Nature's seasoning, but. Yeah, so made it back. Crazy exhausted. Got back. Ryan's just there rocking in the corner, feverishly. And then he's like, oh, you're here. And he's like, I need to go over everything we have to do with the podcast. And I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep.
I get random hour-long bursts of manic energy where I just don't stop. So that's probably what that was. I honestly don't even really remember you getting here last night. I just remember watching Attack on Titan for a very long time last night.
That's right. And I was like, oh, cool. You're like, you're at this part, right? You're like, yeah, I'm a few episodes deep, not realizing I was talking about season 5, part 1. Yeah. And there's
Isn't it season 4?
Or final season.
I can never tell because they've released them in so many parts. Like in my mind, Attack on Titan is on season 8.
It's called Final Season Part 2. That's where it's at. You're way ahead of me, so I'm not
caught up.
I'm not all the way.
Yeah.
When did you start? Like the final season?
The beginning of Part 2. Yesterday, because I watched Part 1 last year.
So I'm saying you just binged it then?
Yeah.
Like last night?
Yeah, I went to sleep at like 4.
Was it that good?
5 in the morning. Oh, my God.
Because I don't know yet. I don't know.
Dude. Oh, it gets so good. What I like about it is like the dialogue is very political. Like the power dynamic constantly is shifting hands at a certain point in part 2, and you really get to see some sides of characters where it's just like they're not really themselves, and just a bunch of shit that you've been waiting to happen is finally happening. And every time they do a flashback to like the earlier seasons, you just can't help but sit there and ask yourself, how did it come to this? Like why are our characters in the position they are in? How did it come to this? But it's so great, man. The animation is just absolutely amazing. The soundtrack is beautiful, beautifully timed with it. It is so sick. I don't want to get too much into it because I know you haven't gotten totally caught up, so I don't want to say any key plot points, but we're definitely going to have to get you caught up so we can discuss a little more in depth.
Oh, let me just ask this much, like without like a major plot giveaway, just like some context for the premise, like what's happening in part, because I have no clue. I'm still on part 1. Like what point are they at? Can you say anything?
I don't think so. Because the point that they're at, like, just kind of gives it away.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you know some of these aspects, but I don't want to go in too deep and, if you don't know or whatever.
Here's a better question to ask. What character are they following right now? Because they
All
always
of
kind of focus on all of them.
All of them.
That's still, you're not giving me anything.
I know.
That's probably best.
Yeah.
But
it's episode to episode because some episodes you get to learn a little bit about, Zeke's past. You remember how at the end of season 3, Aaron gets all those memories from his father when he was in Marley before he got turned into a Titan on Paradis?
yeah.
It kind of goes back and you get to see Zeke's perspective of that. And, because you should know this part, Zeke is the one who, told Marley about his, what's his name? Grisha Yeager.
Okay, yeah.
He told Marley government about Grisha Yeager being a restorationist. He sold out his own parents. So you kind of get to see his aspect a little more and who he met that made him feel that way and what his actual goal is. And now Aaron's is he helping him? Is he helping the other people? You just don't know where anybody stands. And the power dynamic is constantly shifting. Things are constantly changing. It was entertaining enough to when I sat down and said, okay, I'm going to watch this. I got caught up all the way. That's exactly why I haven't been watching it week to week, because I knew I would watch it. It was getting to a point where every time I would scroll down to go to the next episode and I saw that there was another episode, I was like, oh, yes. Until the last couple episodes when I was like, I don't know how much longer I can stay up. I need this to end right now.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm so excited. But on that note, one of the things I wanted to talk about is that, the series is ending, this is the last of it. And the last episode was supposed to be airing March 27th.
Okay.
And I've seen a little bit of this, that's when the show is going to end, but now it's going to be April 3rd. So we still got some time before they come back and end the show.
Yeah.
But I guess the NHK is having some special programming event on March 27th, so they had to push Attack on Titan back.
Welcome.
By days. Yeah. Welcome to the NHK.
Welcome to the NHK.
It's a conspiracy. They don't want Attack on Titan to end.
What I'm curious about, though, is it's such a commercial hit where it's the same thing as remember, did you watch any Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
Oh, so you've seen all of it.
Yeah.
And it was what, a 10-year process of
more or
season
less
1 to 8, roughly a decade?
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, it was a while. And as much as you would think would be conclusive, now they're doing that new season where they go over kind of House Targaryen and
but that's a prequel. It's not the show. Season 8 of Game of Thrones, they just decimated it. They didn't even care about it.
Right.
They just ran through it because they wanted to be done with it.
That's a whole nother episode for another time. Yeah, because we could even though it's not anime shit, there's a lot to say about Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I'm not too invested in that though, because I watched season 8 when it was coming out, and I wanted it to be kind of drawn out and see a little more because it was very fast and rushed, but when it ended, it was one of those things that it was I had some relief. I was like, okay, story is over.
Yeah.
I can set this down and say, done. But they definitely did ruin it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was disappointing to a lot of people, but kind of the point I was getting at is same thing with Star Wars, where it was so successful, they just continue to milk it. And do you think Attack on Titan is done? Once the final season's out, it's done, or there's going to be movies and kind of prequels or alternate universes? Or
probably not, and I have 2 reasons. And one of them was actually another thing I wanted to bring up, so it goes perfectly into it.
Yeah.
If you want to just head into that, because it's a bunch of small stuff, but I think Attack on Titan will probably, this story will wrap up, and then they still do have the opportunity to go back and tell other stories, because the Attack on Titan manga, I'm pretty sure there's completely side stories that are about things in the past. It's not about the main storyline that we've been following, but more prequel stuff. So I definitely think they will make some more shows. They're not just going to let this franchise end, especially after finishing the series. That's like the peak of people's interest in it. So a couple months from now, I guarantee they're going to be releasing like, we're doing a Attack on Titan prequel spinoff, and try to continue the story. But I don't think that's going to take away from the show at all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to believe this is it. And then it's just like, no more. Like, they never make anything again. But
no, they will.
One thing I would like to see, and I'm not going to pretend like that I found out about this, because I actually think you told me about this years ago, and like you were waiting in line or something for like, there was this special crossover with like the Marvel universe and Attack on Titan. Did you tell me about that?
I don't think so. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there was like I don't even know if to call it like a manga or a comic now, because it's bridging the two worlds, but there was a legitimate canon, like not canon to this story, but an actual crossover where there was like the Marvel universe heroes in the Titan universe, where like Spider-Man's, duking it out with the Titan.
I think I do remember this.
Yeah.
I think it was the free... I might actually have that. I got that free Attack on Titan comic at Comic-Con one time.
Yeah.
And I think it's either in that book or it was something around the area that was just kind of like a cry. I don't think it was like actually Marvel and Attack on Titan, like collabing together. I think it was just like somebody did the crossover and was kind of putting it out there. But I mean, we could look into that.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that more, because I just vaguely remember something like that. But
the other thing though that I was gonna say of why this is not the last of Attack on Titan is because, did you see Full Metal Alchemist had its 20th anniversary last year, and they released like a game, and like a mobile game that they were coming out with, but they just released a visual that looks like a kind of movie trailer kind of thing.
Ooh.
That's looks like a live action Scar.
No way.
Mm-hmm. Which kind of, we're bouncing from that topic to this one, but this was initially because I wanted to ask you about something. But the point in that is that even 20 years after a show ending, they're still making content around it. So I don't think we've seen the last of Attack on Titan, even close to. But just on that note, did you see the Full Metal Alchemist live action that they did a while back?
I didn't even know they made one.
Yeah. It wasn't great as far as anime live action goes, and this is kind of what I wanted to ask you, is it was not bad. They just changed the story a lot, and it wasn't great. Live action is never great for an anime adaptation, but I wanted to ask, like, have you ever seen a good one?
I'd be hard pressed to say I've seen a good one. I saw one where I didn't mind it. It was, and I thought I would really dislike it. It was Tokyo Ghoul's live action.
I never saw it.
I think it was on, here's the weird thing. It was on Netflix, but I was staying in Mexico at the time, so they didn't have English. I think it was like Spanish dub with or maybe, no, it was Japanese, but with Spanish subs. So I only understood like part of it. But it was still like, the animation was there, where actually when like their Kagenes come out and everything, like it's pretty sick. And I was like, like it's not half bad. And like I could see why people would kind of like say, oh, it's not as good as the animation, because it's not.
Yeah.
But
there was an attempt.
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't like so shitty like those like
it wasn't like Death Note.
Yeah, or like the Dragon Ball live actions from way back,
Oh, yeah, those were god awful.
And the king of it all, I feel like, is those, you remember, they're kind of like a meme now, those like Mario live actions.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Whereas literally they're like the two plumbers, like they were Mario and Luigi, but also from like the Bronx or something. Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of different variations of that, and I can't really remember which ones were legitimate and which ones were parody. But and just while I'm thinking about it, because I brought up how absolutely shitty the Death Note live action is.
Yeah.
The Netflix original, it's awful, because there is a Japanese version that I've never seen that is probably just as bad. But I gotta say, man, Is it Willem Dafoe? Willem Dafoe being cast as Ryuk.
Wait, what?
Yeah, have you not? Did you not know that?
The Green Goblin?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Willem Dafoe was Ryuk in the Netflix original Death Note. That was a perfect casting. It was the only good part about the whole movie.
I could not take that serious.
Dude, he does a great job. I mean, it's Ryuk, it's CGI, so it's just Willem Dafoe's voice, but it's that like, Green Goblin-y voice. It fits Ryuk so perfectly for what they were trying to do, but the movie in itself is just usually, like I'll finish things. This was 3/4 of the way through the movie. I just turned it off and never again.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when I feel like someone plays a noticeable character, or notable. I mean, not noticeable, but like a notable character where it carries over into everything else they do. You're like, oh, the Green Goblin's in this movie. Like, no, it's Will, but you think of him as that. So I'd see him as Ryuk being like, all right, Spider-Man's going in my Death Note now. Like, it just...
Well, I mean, personally, I think Willem Dafoe is a great actor, and lowering him to just being the Green Goblin is a shame. It's an honest shame. It's a great role that he played as the Green Goblin, but Willem Dafoe kills. He just slays acting. Like I love Willem Dafoe. Such a unique looking guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, right as I heard his voice over Ryuk, it in my brain clicked in. I was like, that makes sense. I am okay with that. I like that. I don't know who else you could get to play Ryuk in a live action like that, but the movie itself was ass.
Who does Light?
I don't know, man. Some dude that looks like the all-time low lead singer. And his name's not even Light Yagami. It's like Light Smith. They're in America, for one.
Oh, that's just painful.
It's so bad.
Light Smith.
Yeah. It's just completely different from the anime, but yeah, it was just one of those ones. Like the Full Metal Alchemist one that I watched a couple years ago, I was like, this isn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not that bad. Oh, just on the topic of live action, I'm sorry. I know it's just all coming back to me, but we've got to show you Rurouni Kenshin, the beginning. The live action movies they made for Rurouni Kenshin. The newest one that came out is called The Beginning, and it's like the origin story of what's his fucking name? His name's Rurouni Kenshin, but he has an actual name that's not, because Rurouni is just like Wanderer.
Right.
But that movie is insane. That is a well done live action anime adaptation, just because it's like a samurai movie. Oh
man, my brain just it collected the thought. I have seen one that I thought was immaculate, and I have a fucking poster of it on my wall, and I didn't even think of it.
What do you got?
The live action for Ghost in the Shell.
Like the Scarlett Johansson.
The Scarlett Johansson one, yeah.
I didn't watch it.
So
is it good?
It's polarizing. I thought it was great. So a lot of people are, like, especially like the Twitter flame wars of like, oh, she's not Japanese and all this. And I could understand that. Like, yeah, I think it would have been made more sense and appropriate to find like a Japanese actress to fulfill that role. But as far as the CGI goes, and like when they do like the mechanized geishas and everything, just whoever did the concept art for that, it blew my mind. And I think, if anything, credit's due for like how beautifully artistic the movie was. Like, it felt like you were in like a dystopic sci-fi world. Yeah. Like you felt so immersed in it, Maybe I'll have to give it a watch. I don't know. There wasn't any like real reason I didn't watch it. I just didn't like the concept of, one, I don't really appreciate live action adaptations anyways, but like having it be something so mainstream, I guess, not mainstream, but just like in theaters out here, Right, yeah. I know Ghost in the Shell is really popular, but it just seemed like a weird way to go about it. Like, I would have loved to see more, honestly, Japanese or even Korean cinematography for it. Yeah.
because Korean movies are insane with their cinematography. Dude.
Yeah.
They look fantastic. I would have loved to see some of that in there. It just seemed like watching the trailers, it seemed too Hollywood to me. It seemed like another action movie. But I mean, if it's got your approval, I'll give it a watch.
You know, you're right to say that. It was in the kind of like Hollywood vein there. But yeah, really take all of that away from it. I liked it purely for just the concept art.
Yeah.
That was done for it. That
So you didn't even like the movie, you just liked the vibe, the aesthetic.
The aesthetic, yeah, it was like the aesthetic, like
all right, maybe I won't watch it. I'll just get a wallpaper of it.
yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, do you really like, you know, Akira, or do you just base your personality around like having a jacket with a pill on it, you know?
Yeah, I do like Akira though.
Well, I think a lot of people do, but I think there's a lot of people like, hey, I put this funny pill on the back of my JDM car, you know?
Yeah.
They might know, they might not. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I feel that is definitely like an aesthetic thing, but yeah, I mean, Akira is a good movie.
Oh,
Yeah. I it's just great. But yeah, maybe I'll have to check it out, even if it's not great, just to watch it.
Yeah, just you know, it's one of those. It's like a one-time watch. Like even if you never want to watch it again, it's like, oh well, glad I did.
Just see Major, what's her name, Katsuragi.
Yeah,
is that her name, Major Katsuragi. Just watch her fuck some people up as ScarJo.
ScarJo.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
that's what people call her, right? ScarJo.
They should.
I'm pretty sure they do. I didn't just like come up with that in my head. I'm not that clever.
Her next adaptation, she's gonna do Jolene for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It'll be ScarJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Jolene Joe.
Bo Jojo. Bo.
Ooh, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Bo.
That was one of those like shows like you forget it existed until someone reminds you.
Yeah, every time. I just watched I was watching a YouTube video not too long ago, and they brought up that show as like anime with crazy names.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit. I forgot about this show for so long.
Yeah.
Bo. Yeah. I used to know how many bows were in it, but now I don't.
I think it literally is bo.
Yeah. I trust you.
Yeah.
Can you get out of my sock, please?
You talking to me?
No. I was talking. Yes.
You talking to me?
Stop yelling at me.
That's Mushi. She has a thing for anything fabric or that we care about. Don't want to be clawed to death.
She's actually the reason why my wife left me. But anyways, did you see, I guess this was announced like in June of last year, but did you see they're making a Lord of the Rings anime, which fits in pretty well because the director is the director from Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, like, is it going to be like Lord of the Rings, like anime, like Japanese anime, or like animation?
It's Lord of the Rings anime. I think the only reason why they call it anime is because anime is just Japanese animation.
No, I meant that as in like, is it going to be like Frodo speaking Japanese, or is it going to be
I mean,
like
Frodo's not in it? I have no idea. It's not like there's not a lot released about it. They just have a couple of visuals out and stuff.
Yeah.
I imagine, I will probably watch it in the Japanese variation with subtitles. But
that's what I'm getting at. Is it a Japanese studio doing it, or is it okay?
That's why it's anime. The director.
Yeah.
I got its name right here. It's
mind-boggling because I'm like, I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah, it's Kenji Kamiyama, who directed Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and then Joseph Chow, who produced Blade Runner, Black Lotus. Also, the director Kenji Kamiyama directed Blade Runner, Black Lotus as well.
Is that an anime?
Yeah.
Like it's related to Blade Runner the films?
Yeah, it's like Blade Runner 2042 and Blade Runner Black Lotus, I guess.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, there's anime Blade Runners.
All news to me.
Yeah. I remember before they like released them, they had like a fight scene of Blade Runner that was in anime style, and it was so sick. I've never watched the Blade Runner anime, but I really should because it seems like they did a good job. But yeah, I just thought that was crazy. I guess it was released in like June of last year that they were working on a Lord of the Rings anime, but that's just, isn't that strange?
Yeah, I'm kind of bridging this into another topic because just a lot of strange things we haven't expected have been happening lately. And this isn't that weird. It's just been such a long time coming. I'd forgotten about it, but they're actually bringing Crunchyroll to the Nintendo Switch now, which had like nothing before in terms of like streaming.
I used to take my Switch places when I would go out of town for work, and not having Crunchyroll on it was something I had to learn in the hotel, far away from home. Like, well, guess I got to go watch anime on Hulu.
Yeah, it's a sad thing when you're like sitting in the hotel room, you're watching anime on your phone, and you're looking at that nice crispy screen sitting on your Switch right there. But it's finally a thing. Like, and even when Hulu came, it was the first, right? Hulu came to the Switch.
I don't know. I don't know that well. I used my Switch like 3 times.
Yeah. For a moderate Switch user, I think, Hulu, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think it was Hulu that was the first. But Crunchyroll was the thing I was always like, they should put Crunchyroll on this. Because it kind of just ties in too. Like, there's a lot of Nintendo games that kind of bridge that anime-esque, like Fire Emblem.
Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, exactly. So just having them both in one device is like, that's a nice thing. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. You got a Switch. I was going to say, do you even have a Switch?
Yeah, so this is how big of a dumbass I am. I like everything in like monochrome and white and black, and so I forked over like $160 for some custom like yin and yang Joy-Cons on Etsy.
Yeah.
And 2 months later, the OLED version of the Switch came out with black and white Joy-Cons. And I was just looking at mine, and I'm like, I wanted to do it for years, and I finally pulled the trigger. And then of all things, it fucking comes out with black and white Joy-Cons. And I was like, well, I'm still paying that Afterpay for the next few weeks, but,
yours
no
are
big
custom.
deal. That's true.
Yeah.
They are different because it's black with white buttons and white with black. So
it's the sunk cost fallacy. You already spent the money on it, so it's fine.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that more often because that happens pretty often. But
that's how I get over my huge gambling losses. Well, it's money I already spent. No use crying over it.
Well, you own the casino too, so
That's true. I do.
We're talking about Grand Theft Auto, right?
No, I own a casino. Yeah. I'm rich. Anyways, the only other thing I wanted to touch on was a new soccer anime that I saw was coming out. Because, I've been itching for one lately. There was one I was telling you about that was the Aoashi or something.
Yeah.
But now there's another one called Blue Lock, I think it's called. Yeah, Blue Lock. And it's got an interesting group of people working on it, like people who worked on Saga of Tanya the Evil, and people who did My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, and then Haikyuu, obviously, the volleyball one.
Now that makes me wonder, is it supposed to be like a more serious sports anime, or like?
I think it's like a shonen one, like Haikyuu.
Okay, because I'm thinking
style.
of the only other soccer one I know is about the guy that's like an OCD clean freak soccer player.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So Blue Lock, I'm kind of excited for that one. It's supposed to be coming out in like July or something. So we're a little ahead of it, but I just wanted to kind of touch on that. Yeah. Mostly so that you remember and I remember. I want to fucking watch that.
Yeah, oh man, that and like Chainsaw Man. I just can't wait.
I was going to say, I still feel like Chainsaw Man, I feel like I heard about so long ago that it should be out, but I still have not it always escapes my mind of it existing. Somebody says Chainsaw Man, I'm like, oh yeah.
There's a trailer out.
Yeah.
And
I think I've seen it.
yeah, I think I showed it to you, but
It came out a bit ago, right?
not that long ago. I think like a month ago.
Oh, maybe I haven't seen it then.
At least the trailer I'm thinking of, but it's to me it's like what Ajin was supposed to be. Like that level of hype, but like
Maybe we talked about
well
it.
done. Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
touched on that a little bit, but
Because I remembered you making that relation, but I don't think I've actually watched the like preview for it.
yeah, you'll definitely have to check that one out. But
yeah, I'll have to check it out.
you know, they've waited long enough.
I think we can make them wait a little longer.
You sure?
Yeah. Let's just put like 20 minutes of silence right here, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
All right, we're back. So, yeah, let's get to this beer pairing because I was stoked on this because Ryan got this idea, and once he told me about it, I was like, "That's perfect." And then I found this bottle, and I'm like, "This couldn't be more perfect." So, with the strawberry blonde, you already knew about that. Our pairing is going to be with my dress up darling.
Ding, ding, ding. You guessed it.
Why did we pick a strawberry blonde?
Or do you want me to say it?
I want you to say it.
I mean, she's got blonde hair with some red tips at the end. Like, it's a little strawberry, you know? Strawberry blonde.
And I find this bottle with a woman's hair that's hair like that.
Yeah.
And it just
we'll have it up there.
totally blew my mind. So
they'll be able to see what it looks like and what we're talking about with the bottle.
would you do me the honors and grab the bottle?
Yeah, I already got it prepped and ready, but I'm gonna need you to do something for me too.
What's that?
I'm gonna need you to. We're gonna have to pour it up, but I'll go ahead and grab that bottle. So hold on. Be right back. Insert 20 minutes of silence.
So with our pairing today, obviously the anime My Dress Up Darling, but we're pairing it with Strawberry Blonde by Belmont Brewing Company. So they're out of Long Beach, California.
It has got a very, very sweet smell.
Did you take a sip already? I
No.
see you over there. You're getting close. So I'm going to give it a sniff and yeah.
It smells like there's like a certain candy I'm thinking of. It's like a Laffy Taffy.
Okay,
Do you smell
yeah.
that?
I'm getting like kind of like that. It doesn't sound like a weird comparison, but like there was those Del Taco strawberry lemonades with like the actual pureed fresh strawberry.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of like the strawberry puree.
Yeah, like it tastes, and not taste. It smells like actual, like not like strawberry flavor, but yeah. Let's give that a sip.
That is pretty good.
Wow.
I don't know what it is with literally, I mean, you know, it's only episode 3, but all of our pairings have been sweet beers. Like we did a mead, a sour, and now a strawberry blonde.
Yeah, they've all, maybe we're just a couple of sweet guys.
We're going to have to hit an IPA next week for me because
Yeah.
I don't know how many more of these sweet beers I can drink.
Yeah, we'll get the insulin shots for,
This is really good though.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that this is the reason why I'm unhappy that sweeter tasting things like this usually make my stomach hurt is because this tastes really good.
Yeah, and I'll say this much too. The smell hits you and then you taste it, but it's not as potent as the scent.
The smell
it's
is
like that.
definitely far more overpowering than the flavor.
Yeah, it's like a natural strawberry. Like how when you bite into an actual strawberry, it's like a little tangy.
Yeah.
It's not like a sugar bomb. There's that subtle sweetness, but...
And I can kind of feel that a lot with like the carbonation of the beer and the flavoring mixed with it. It kind of gives you that like that tangy feeling when you eat a strawberry. It does have the sweetness there, but like the white bits of the strawberry are a little bitter,
Exactly. And this is definitely true to the blonde beer as far as it has that very... kind of, I'm having a tough time kind of describing it. Like blondes are very not in your face.
Yeah, it's very
It's
non-offensive.
beer, but yeah, non-offensive. It's beer, but it's like a beer that you take on a nice stroll through the park, like.
Yeah, like this is the beer I would crack open after I ran like a mile or something.
And you'd feel okay. It would go down like Gatorade, but yeah, we just, purely from her notable hair color, we're like, what better way to pair it than with some strawberry blonde, because she has those little red tips to it.
Yeah.
And
she's got a bit of a strawberry blonde thing going on, and that's why I just brought the idea up to you. And I mean, luckily, you came across a perfect bottle that just goes ideally with it. And I mean, it's the same thing. It's got a little bit of that bitter flavor. It makes, it doesn't let you forget that you're drinking a beer, but it's got that sweet aroma and that sweet flavor that I think matches up really well with the show, because, it's a sweet show. But it does have its kind of bitter moments of...
Yeah, it's kind of like, and we're talking about a show, but it's really this character that stands out to us. Maureen Kitagawa, she does have that little bit of kind of tang to her, where she kind of teases Gojo. It's like she's not like super like girly, cutesy. Like she's kind of has that tomboy attitude. But when you get to know her deep down, she's like a real softie, and I would say this is the softie of beers.
I'd say she's sweet, and she's not afraid to let you know it.
Yeah,
she's aggressive in her sweetness,
but
it's really tasty.
We're all in love with her. I mean, I feel like the second she came out, it just took the internet by storm, and she's probably everybody's phone wallpaper by now. And
not mine.
No, yeah, no. I mean, not us then, because I actually have. What is your wallpaper,
bro? I have not changed. I change my wallpaper like once or twice a year, but I don't know where my other phone is. But on this one, it's just like an anime landscape kind of thing that looks pretty, and then the actual phone background itself is a picture of a church I took.
Okay.
And I think that's the same one. I don't even think I changed it over to my new phone.
I've had like Zatsune Miku for a long time, which for those who aren't familiar is like the dark version of Hatsune Miku. It's like black hair, red eyes, and it's like my computer wallpaper. I always thought it was a cool picture.
Yeah. But I mean, on my wallpaper, because I have Wallpaper Engine on my computer, that's where I really switch up the wallpapers a lot. Like I don't really, because I don't use my phone very much. I'm either at my computer or not home, pretty much. But I have like Kaguya from Kaguya-sama Love is War as one of them. Rei from Neon Genesis is one of them. And then just two random ones. Like one's just kind of like a dark black and white kind of Junji Ito looking art style for the main one, and then the other one's just a little risque on the other one.
I know which one you're talking about. And yeah, God, what a blessing Wallpaper Engine is.
Oh yeah, it's so nice. I mean,
I've been on the same ones too. I have like a Blade Drain Gang one for my main monitor that's like glowing and very Drainer-esque, and then my other monitor is, I think, Saya from Uta no Saya, or Songs of Saya, the visual novel, where it's like her and her wings and little flower petals coming down, and I think some blood creeping up. But we'll have to talk about her sometime.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a visual novel episode or something.
Yeah,
we'll just go over visual novels.
But there you had it, guys. I mean, Strawberry Blonde by Belmont. If you guys have never tried a blonde, I'd say it's a good blind buy. For those who are not even especially into stronger beers, this will be a little easier on the palate. But if you are into blondes, this is, out of the few I've had, definitely one of the better ones.
I've had a handful of blondes, and I would definitely rank this near the top of the blondes that I've had, because where blondes I feel like kind of fall short is that it's just a lot of them to me taste like an improved version of a Coors Light or something.
Yeah.
It's an easy to drink beer that doesn't really have too much flavor, but they add in this aggressive aroma that you think is going to make it more akin to like a sour. But once you drink it, you're getting all of the scent, the aroma filling your nostrils as you drink, but it's not in the flavor of it. So it's not overwhelming the palate. It's just taking hold of your scent, but the flavor is, I don't know. It just increases the flavor of the blonde. Like blondes usually are nothing to write home about for me, but this one, I would drink this again.
Yeah, if anything, I would even just sit there and smell this one again. Like Belmont, this is me reaching out right now. Do you guys have a fucking like candle or something? This shit does smell fantastic.
Just give me a strawberry blonde or like a cologne or something.
Yeah, I want to wear this shit.
It's kind of weird because we literally could just get like a bottle of strawberry puree and just like put it in our hair like mousse.
Or just get enough bottles of this and just take a bath, soak for an hour.
Just dump them all into a bucket and let it sit out to make the apartment smell like strawberries.
Give a little to Mooshi.
Yeah. Mooshi, you want to get faded?
You trying to get faded, girl?
Where you at? Come drink this blonde. You want to take it?
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in again. This is the 2D Research Club. This is episode 3. Any last words, Ryan?
Yeah, I actually just wanted to say I appreciate everybody for listening so far. And, we're both pretty excited about all this. It's been a really fun time for us to work on this. And we're still working on getting everything improved. Like, we've got the camera now, so we should be adding that into the mix. We were going to try to do it for this episode, but I've been fucking with the camera all day, so the battery died. So, yeah, I just wanted to share some appreciation on my end, but that's about it.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it. Thank you so much. Peace.